Ray from RayAnn, and today we're going to be pruning trees. It's late March. We're a little later than normal. I usually like to prune trees well before the buds start to come out, because I want the ends of the branches to be healed before. In the winter, the cold nights help do that. So, but to start with today, we're going to do a small plum tree. I don't like pruning my trees when they're really young, because I believe that they need a lot of photosynthesis to help get the roots established. But this tree is about 3 years old now, and it's starting to get a little bit overgrown and long and stringy. So I'll show you how to prune this tree now. See these branches here, how long and stringy they get? Well, I like to cut them. When you cut them like I did last year, see, it makes new shoots come out, and these shoots are what hold the fruit. So that's getting too long, so I'll probably cut that right there and cut that right there. Otherwise the tree will get really long and stringy, and I want to control the shape of the tree also. Okay, Anna, start cutting. That's 1, 2, all right, come on over here. Okay, see, this tree's all way overgrown, so we're gonna shorten, stouten it up a little bit. We don't want the fruit hanging way down, breaking branches. Good job, Anna. So see how it is right now. When Anna's done with it, we'll show you what it looks like. Good job, sweetheart. You want to get all these short whippy ones out of here. For the taller branches, I use the extension cutter here, and this works pretty good.
Okay.
Cut that right off. It's a little sticky. Okay. Okay, this tree's just been completed. We don't want to overdo it, because it's a young tree. It's only been in the ground 3 years, and it's going to be a beautiful plum tree. You can see the before and after. This is after, and what we want to get is a lot. Save the branches with a lot of buds. See all these little buds here? Every one of these buds that you see on there, those little buds are potential plums, and so that's what we want to focus on. We're going to do a pear tree. This pear tree has been in the ground for about 7 or 8 years, and it's been very fruitful, but I've been starting to prune it every year now. And what I try to do right now with a pear trees have a tendency to grow straight up. They don't branch out wide. They have a tendency to go straight up. So I don't like climbing up a ladder to harvest pears when they're way up high. It's dangerous. It's not worth it. And so I try to keep the growth as low as I can and make the tree branch out as much as possible. So you can see up here these tall sticks, the tall up there. Anything higher than my ladder, I cut it off. First, we're going to start off on the lower branches. Pears have a tendency to load up with a lot of pears, and you get so many pears on there that this is going to weigh down, and this whole thing will bend, and it very easily could break and damage the tree, and you lose the pears. So what I want to do is I want to shorten these up a little bit and try to I want to encourage the branch to grow fat and stout, so that it won't break later, maybe a few years down the road. I'm sacrificing a few pears this year for long-term pears in the future. We just finished the pear tree. This is a moon glow pear tree, and this is what it looks like. We try to hold the shape. We got rid of all the whippy branches and all the branches that look like it's a very productive tree. So we want to make sure that the branches are stout enough to handle the fruit. Each branch can only bear so much fruit. And so this tree is done. It's quite easy. It didn't take long. Now we're going to move on to the rest of the trees down the row here. Some Honeycrisp that are a little overgrown. We're going to reshape these. Here, this is a young Honeycrisp tree I just finished pruning. Got rid of all the whippy branches to make the branches nice and stout to hold the maximum amount of fruit without breaking the branch. And I try not to prune too much in the beginning when a tree's young, or try to keep this in mind. All the pruning you do when they're young is going to benefit you when the tree's older, and it helps to shape the tree, so when a tree is fully mature, it'll bear fruit every year. At least that's the experiences that I've had with my trees. Another Honeycrisp apple tree, and no two trees are the same, so it's not a one size fits all. But on this tree here, you can see a lot of the growth is heavy to the south and a little bit light on the north. So to keep this tree balanced, I'm going to trim quite a bit off the south. I brought this tree back into balance now. The growth was going heavy to the south and light on the north. So as you can see, now it's symmetrical, and the weight of the apples and everything, you'd be surprised how much that pulls the tree to one side or the other, especially when it goes year after year. So this will keep the tree growing nice and straight, and we'll try to work on keeping it symmetrical. Here's the Honeycrisp tree that I just finished, and it's not that old of a tree. It's probably about 8 years old, but it's very productive. As you can see, it's fairly symmetrical now, and it's thinned out quite a bit. You want to have airflow going through your branches too. That's very important. You want to have some sunlight going through there. Makes your apples nice and red. And this is a tree that was heavy on the south side, so I cut a lot of it off, and I'm encouraging the growth to grow longer on the north side. And over the years, you do a little at a time, and it'll shape that tree so it's a beautiful symmetrical tree. And here's how it looks standing back from a distance. That's exactly how I want it for this year, and I'm sure it's going to be loaded with apples. This is a tree that we just finished, and I want to show you what a finished tree looks like. All the branches now are stout. They can handle the weight of a lot of apples. And here's another Honeycrisp apple tree that we're going to give this a makeover now too. And as you can see, it's growing a little bit wild, a little high, a little bit long, stringy on top and stringy out here. And I'll show you before and after on this one here. We're going to start working on it right now. The Honeycrisp tree that I just finished, showed you before. And as you can see, we worked on getting it symmetrical. And I'm really pleased with this tree. It's one of our best trees. It produces a tremendous amount of apples because of good pruning. I'm going to walk around and show you this tree. This is pretty typical for an 8-year-old tree. And see, I like to have nice stout branches. And on a young tree, you're not going to get a lot of suckers. So I want to keep the branches stout because a Honeycrisp apple is a large apple. So the branches can get weighed down, and they got to be strong enough to endure. So anyways, and I don't want them any higher than my ladder because it's not worth risking your neck to pick an apple. But this will be very, very fruitful this fall, and later this fall maybe I could take a video and show you the hundreds of apples that are going to be on this tree.